Is the burger extinct? Right? It's the question the New York Times is asking as plant-based meat storms our grocery store shelves. Even Bill Gates has called for countries to switch to 100% synthetic beef. But is plant-based meat really healthier for you? Today we're investigating with a little help from a meat-loving legend. Take a look. Food Network star Aaron McCargo Jr. loves meat.
I'm a lamb lover. I'm a pork lover. I'm a rib lover.
And for good reason. The way he preps and cooks meat is an art form.
I call this my jalapeno popper stuffed prime rib.
For years, you've read headlines tying meat to everything from heart disease and diabetes to cancer, kidney problems, even digestive issues. These warnings, along with environmental concerns, have launched a $4 billion industry focused on plant-based meat. Now, restaurants are featuring everything from impossible burgers to Beyond Sausage breakfast sandwiches on their menus. And plant-based meat lines the aisles at your local grocery store. But not everyone is convinced.
It's never been my thing to say, oh, wow, I'm going to get a chance to try some plant-based foods or meats or anything like that. No, I'm a carnivore for life.
So he posed a challenge to Chef McCargo. Could he swap animal meat for plant-based meat for 1 week?
I'm excited but nervous that I can really hold out for more than an hour, let alone days, without eating meat. And that's all jokes aside. This is going to be one of the toughest things I've ever done.
So how did Aaron's meatless journey go? Well, we first needed a little checkup. We followed along. Before starting the challenge, we sent Aaron to Manhattan Cardiovascular, where he met cardiologist Dr. Michael Galchi.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
Pleasure to meet you.
I'm good. Good to be here. I'm good.
Dr. Galchi was going to run a slew of different tests.
First up, we're going to do your vital signs.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to just please have a seat over here.
To get a baseline assessment of Aaron's heart health. First up, his blood pressure.
You have 148 over 94.
Okay. So how's that?
So it's a little bit high.
Do you think it might have something to do with my mind on that for 7 days I'm not going to have meat?
He recorded Aaron's waist circumference, his weight, and then performed a carotid ultrasound.
So what Sophia is starting to do now is scanning your carotid arteries, looking for any signs of premature plaque. So eating a lot of meat is associated with developing plaque.
On to an exercise stress test.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like a workout.
And finally, blood work. Now it was time to go shopping for some plant-based meat.
Got burgers, beef. Definitely can make some good Italian sausage and peppers with this. Think I'm good to go.
The challenge began that night with plant-based beef tacos.
I like.
Midweek, it was plant-based buffalo chicken pasta.
Wow. Wow.
Then, plant-based pork sausages and patties.
Not a bad breakfast to start. Cheers.
And by the end of the week, Aaron even had his son eating plant-based wraps.
It's pretty good.
After 1 week, it was time to head back to the doctor to run through the tests once again. Aaron is here with us now. You're a friend of the show. I've grown to love you over the years. Really, I mean, like a brother.
Yes.
I appreciate all that you do to help so many folks, which is why before we get into this segment, I want to talk about you for a second.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's go look at your numbers.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the meat, because
okay,
that's part of the story here, but the bigger story is you.
Okay.
So these are the numbers we got. Your weight was 252 pounds, which you know probably translates to being in a category that's not healthiest.
Right.
So your body mass index was 33.9.
Gotcha.
And that's a number that's just too high.
Gotcha.
Because it's going to predispose you to all kinds of issues, the most important of which, because it's the #1 ager of all, is blood pressure.
Gotcha.
And that number is not just a mild inconvenience. It's called the silent killer because that's exactly what it is.
Right.
So it's got to be optimally under 130 over 85.
Gotcha.
So you're past that. You're past 140 over 90, which is a clear-cut hypertension, and you're just going north, and you're a young guy.
Right.
And so all these things are fixable and changeable. One way of doing it is by looking at your diet.
Right.
But meat or no meat, this is something we're going to have to deal with.
Absolutely.
It's a deal?
Absolutely.
And I'll help you in every way I can.
You got it, Doc.
All right, God bless.
Absolutely.
All right, now, I'm glad you decided to do this experiment because you are at the crossroads, so let's look at what happened to you, all right? So only Aaron could do this. The challenge was to switch from regular meat to plant-based meat for a full week. That means the burgers, the sausages, the kielbasa's, every little thing, right? You have to change it to all plant-based. Even the chicken is plant-based. So, were you satisfied with these new plant-based options? What you think?
It was complicated at first, Doc. I realized I needed to add a lot of big, bold flavors to really wake up the food because it was more of a mental thing than anything. The appearance of it looks authentic and official. Like, you get the burger, it looks like a burger. You get the sausage.
Like a burger.
Oh, it looks just like a burger. But once it hits your palate, you know that this is not meat. You're like, you get this thing going on in your head, and I was like, no, it needs something. So then I started adding different vegetables and flavorings and things of that nature. My son dipped in and dabbed a little bit with me, and he really enjoyed a lot of these things. So it was good. I did it.
Well, the big, bold flavors you're speaking to, we're going to get to in a second. But I want to ask you the key question. If you weren't comparing it to meat,
right,
but just saying by itself, is this something that I would enjoy eating?
Absolutely, hands down. That burger went down easy. The next morning, I put an egg and some of that plant-based bacon on it, and that was even great. So, yes.
All right. So I wanted to go one step further, find out if these meat substitutes are actually healthier than their animal counterparts. So we teamed up with food scientist and author of Cooking for Geeks, Jeff Potter. So, Jeff, break it down for us. How are these plant-based meats different than your traditional veggie burger?
Well, the traditional-based meats are really made with ingredients that you'd find in your kitchen. These are things you're used to working with, corn, bean, all these things. Whereas the plant-based meats that we're talking about today, these are using all the food science techniques that are available to get something that looks and acts more like a meat for people who are looking for that particular meat-like experience. Now, these foods do meet my definition of ultra-processed foods. These are not things that I could make in my kitchen at home.
All right, so let's go into these faux burgers, and I made a little example for you. So this is what it looks like on the outside. This is what Chef Aaron was seeing and enjoying. But what's actually inside the faux burgers to make them meat-like?
Well, they're using a lot of the kind of standard approach of proteins with certain fats and flavoring ingredients.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, even though these are meat substitutes and they are plant-based, you're arguing they're not the same as eating fruits and vegetables.
No, I wouldn't call them just like a pile of veggies. I mean, I don't think there's any particular food safety issue in any of this. I think, in fact, there's actually quite some promise here. But at the same time, I would treat these things more like the meat burger than a pile of vegetables.
All right, let's look at the side-by-side comparison of regular meat, right, with the plant-based burgers. Now, you can see they're pretty equivalent in terms of calories. Look at the top line there, right? Not a huge difference. They're also in saturated fat pretty equivalent. You know why that is? Because of that coconut oil, which is a lot of saturated fat in that. Now, the plant-based burger, right, is saving you over 100 milligrams of cholesterol. That's a big deal because if you've got a heart disease problem, that's about half your daily allowance. And on the converse, when it comes to salt, right, the amount of sodium in a traditional burger is actually, over here, a lot less than what it is over where I am, which is the plant-based burger. So you can still have lots of salt in a plant-based meal and mess up some of the benefits. What about the price? How do these meatless meats stack up?
Well, they're currently about twice the price of regular meats. I looked at 3 different grocery store chains, and a pound of the meatless burgers are about $10 a pound, whereas regular meat is about $5 or $6 a pound for an equivalent quantity. Now, I expect over the years that these prices will change and come down. It's just for now, you're going to pay a premium to have that experience.
Jeff, thanks for joining us and for enlightening us. When we come back, did Aaron's week of plant-based meat have an impact on his health? We're revealing his medical results when we come back. America is crazed for plant-based meat. You don't believe me? Just take a look at some of your favorite restaurants. Burger King has the Impossible Whopper. Dunkin' has the Beyond Sausage Breakfast Sandwich. And even McDonald's is coming out with a McPlant Burger. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? But are these meat substitutes really better for you? We put this question to the test by challenging meat lover and chef Aaron McCargo Jr. to try 1 week of plant-based meat. He had a medical workup done before and after our experiment. And now we're getting his results for the first time. So before you hear your results, all right, are you feeling any different?
I feel actually pretty good, but I did a lot more than just the plant-based diet. I really tried to get more sleep. I tried to do a little bit of extra walking, cut back on my tequila drinking and some of the carbs, so a lot of things went into the makeup that made me feel pretty good now.
All right, I'm going to bring in cardiologist Dr. Michael Galchi for the answers. Dr. Galchi, thanks for being with us and thanks for doing this testing. So what is the verdict? Did this diet have an impact on Aaron's heart health?
Actually, yes, it did. So Aaron's weight went from 252 pounds to 247 and had a weight loss of 5 pounds.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, his blood pressure also went from 148/94, which was in stage 2 hypertension, down to 125/85, putting him in stage 1.
You're kidding me. That's a massive shift. Yeah. Forget the weight. The blood pressure is what I was worried about.
Yeah, seriously, Doc. the blood pressure number dropping was like, boom, a wake-up call. It was exciting to see. So,
oh, that's so wonderful. All right. Keep delivering the news. This is great, Dr. Galtry.
Okay, great. So he also had 2 inches come off of his waist circumference, which is also significant.
Your wife likes that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like handles, not love handles.
Exactly. Like handles. And I also understand your LDL, the lousy type of cholesterol decrease. Is that right, Dr. Galtry?
That's right. So Aaron's LDL went from 92 to 74, a drop of 18 points.
We give medications to get those kinds of results. And you got there with not just diet, but other things you did as well. They travel together. So, Dr. Galtry, what didn't change? Because I know there's no panacea.
Yeah, so I think what didn't change is almost as interesting as what did change. His triglycerides went from 99 to 107, a slight rise. And we know that triglycerides are lipid particles that also increase cardiovascular risk. And I think this is a testament to how ultra-processed food doesn't really kind of, as you said, fix everything.
Dr. Galtry, thanks so much for opening your clinic up and taking care of my good friend.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Aaron. Come on, it's time to get to the results. By the way, I'm so happy about the blood pressure, I can't see straight. But let's talk to everybody about what we think actually can be delivered by plant-based foods. Are they really healthier for you? And are they healthy for all of us? So let's start with the environment first, right? Because everyone's worried about the environment. Is it better? Well, yeah. Plant-based foods are going to be better because we don't have to have, factory farming of livestock, and that's a big challenge to our environment for both water, but also release of gases into the atmosphere, et cetera, and food crops get used. Yep. How about the wallet? Interestingly, turns out the meat's better for your wallet. Yeah. It's about half the price, best we can tell. But let's talk about you personally now. In terms of fat, wasn't a big difference. Right. That's why triglycerides didn't change in you that much. Okay. So, but did have less cholesterol that may have helped you with the lousy cholesterol problems, which is why I think the plant-based will make more sense there. Okay. And the sodium, I was really surprised by this, but it's upsetting as well. There's too much salt in these plant-based burgers. So Cal's still better for that because it's got so much taste. You don't have to add salt onto it. Right. So I think if I'm giving you the answer to your personal question about whether it's healthier for you, it depends. It depends on you. It depends on the person. So if I were your doctor, I'd say keep enjoying the regular old meat that you love in moderation. Okay. But I got a bigger plea for you. Yeah. I'm just you're a chef. I'm just a lowly doctor, right? I can tell you to eat healthier. Right. But I can't actually make it taste so good that you want to eat healthier. Right. So do you think that you could use that big bowl flavoring tactic that you've got to cook with less salt, less fat, and still make voluptuous food that you desire?
Absolutely, Doc. And that was my main mission throughout this whole process, was eliminating the salt. Because the one thing I did notice in the beginning was the salt taste in a lot of the plant-based foods was really a turnoff to a degree, but I really was able to doctor the flavor with the dry spices, with the fresh herbs, and like you said, I incorporated the slaw and the tacos and the lettuces and as many vegetables as I can get in there to really bulk it up and make it as flavorful and healthy as possible.
If you make that part of your message and part of your teaching, you will save millions of lives.
Well, I'm hoping to do so, and it's funny you said that because I still want to keep a part of that plant-based as part of my diet because it really did work. It made me a little gassy, but it made me feel a lot better about myself at the end.
You're still lovable, even with some gas.
Yeah, okay,
right. Thank you. Aaron, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your personal story.
My pleasure.
It takes a lot of brave to have done that.
It was. Thank you.
All right.